Our movie begins in Chinatown, and we see the detective Walter. He noticed someone walking behind him, so he walked quickly and threw a package into a mailbox, and then he left. Unfortunately, as soon as he was about to cross the street, a car hit him and Walter fell to the ground. Once they made sure he was dead, the car sped away in Hawaii. We see Navy Commander James training his squad in a swimming pool to stay underwater for as long as possible. No one is able to stay underwater as long as him, so he comes out and yells at them. A soldier came to him and told him there was an important call for him from the police. A bit later, we see James in the morgue looking at his father's body. They told him that Walter died in an accident, a car hit him and ran away. But James didn't show any emotions. It's clear his relationship with his father wasn't the best. Later, James went home and was preparing dinner. His wife, Layla, asked him about his day, so he told her about the training and told her that Walter died, just like that, very coldly, calling him by his name instead of Dad. Layla said, "Your brother John must know," but James told her they haven't spoken for years and his brother wouldn't answer him. In Oklahoma, we see Johnny, James's half-brother. He found his girlfriend, Valentina, packing her clothes and wanting to leave because today is her birthday and Johnny forgot. This made her reach her limit with him. Johnny is always joking and doesn't take things seriously, so Valentina had enough. Johnny apologized to her and swore he would change. Valentina kissed him, but she also slapped him and left anyway. Johnny got depressed and spent the following hours drinking to forget. At that moment, he got a call from Layla informing him of Walter's death and saying the funeral is tomorrow. Johnny didn't feel like attending and went to the bathroom while talking to her about his job and the police. Suddenly, two men appeared behind him and put a knife to his throat. When Johnny turned to look at them, he accidentally peed on their shoes. These men want the package Walter sent, but Johnny doesn't know what they are talking about and told them he hadn't seen Walter since he was a small kid. The men showed him their tattoos to prove they are Yakuza and threatened to kill him if he didn't bring the package. Johnny pretended to beg them for his life, but he attacked them. He threw the men into the bathroom and broke many things, including the door. A third man entered and opened fire, so Johnny hid. One of the first attackers woke up, so Johnny hit him against the door and pushed him to trap the one shooting as well. He gave him a punch after piercing the door. Then Johnny started using the house furniture as weapons and even took a break to drink something. The fight continued for a bit, and Johnny managed to take down two of the men. The last one found his mother's ashes and broke them. So Johnny took a grater and ran it across the man's arm, and then finished him off. On the same table, he found a note from Valentina saying, "Thanks for nothing." The gang came back again, and Johnny was about to be strangled, but he threw the man onto glass shards so he would die. Afterward, Johnny picked up a picture of his mother when he was young, and behind it was Walter, so Johnny cursed him. The next day at the funeral, James noticed that both the Yakuza and the syndicate gangs came. He was also surprised by Johnny's arrival. They immediately started fighting and insulting each other, so the monk had to yell at them. They threw Walter's ashes into the sea from a boat. Later, Johnny discovered that James is living in his childhood home. We discover that Walter cheated on James's mother and had Johnny with his mistress. James's mother welcomed Johnny into her home normally, but James didn't like him because this relationship destroyed his family. During lunch, Governor Peter joined the family because Johnny's half-sister, Hanani, works for him. Johnny revealed that he didn't come for his brother, he came because he wants to find whoever killed Walter. James insisted it was a hit-and-run accident, so Johnny told him about the attack last night. A fight broke out, and James accused Johnny of bringing trouble everywhere. When Johnny said that James didn't help him when his mother was killed, James was shocked for a second and asked him to talk alone. They went toward the beach and the two brothers fought again. James refused to believe Walter's death wasn't an accident, so Johnny cursed him and left. Later, we see Johnny in a bar, and he happened to meet Alikai from the syndicate gang there. Alikai's boss, Mr. K, wants Johnny, but Johnny isn't interested. Suddenly, Johnny felt tired and fell unconscious when he realized Alikai had put a sedative in his drink. A while later, Johnny woke up at Mr. K's place. Mr. K noted that Johnny beat many of his men in the past. Johnny justified it by saying he did that because the syndicate killed his mother. Mr. K asked him to leave Hawaii, but Johnny refused. So he threw him onto a table, carved something on his neck, and gave him 7 days to leave, or they would kill him. During that time, James went to Detective Reinert and asked for Walter's report. Reinert told him he's welcome to look, but there's no useful information. The accident happened in an area where people don't deal with the police, and the only camera was broken. The police are sure it's a hit and run, so no one is investigating. Afterward, James received Walter's belongings from the station, a pocket knife and a wallet containing a ticket with strange words written on it. At the same time, Johnny broke into Walter's house and found a gun in the desk and kept it. Suddenly, someone entered the apartment, so Johnny hid. Becca started searching through papers on the desk. Johnny tried to surprise him, but Becca threw a plate at him and escaped. Becca jumped onto roofs and cars to reach the ground, but on the main street, Johnny was waiting for him with a punch. Johnny took him to a bar and asked what he was doing there. Becca told him he was working with Walter, who was like a father to him. Walter had many enemies who wanted him dead. His last job was with a catering company. Becca pretended to be a waiter with them, but he never understood why Walter wanted this job. Johnny announced that Becca would work with him now and grabbed his broken nose to snap it back into place. Returning to James, who reached the crime scene and studied the tire tracks on the ground. Then he noticed a camera at an adult store, so he went in and tried to pay money to see the surveillance recordings. The shop owner refused the money and didn't want to give him the recordings. James told him, "This money isn't for the recordings. It's compensation for the losses to the shop that I'm going to smash over your heads, and I'm still taking the recordings." Later, Johnny and Becca returned to Walter's house. They found a skateboard. Becca said Walter didn't skate. Johnny noticed a fin was wrong. When he pulled it, a secret map fell out from a hidden spot. He called Hanani and told her about this map and that it had Peter's government seal on it. He asked her to dig into this story, and she promised to check the database. Then Becca tried to leave, and suddenly the door was knocked on. James stormed the apartment with his gun, so Johnny also pulled his weapon. They realized they were both working on the case, so they put their weapons back. James pulled out a flash drive with the surveillance recordings from the shop. While watching, they noticed the car had no license plates and the driver didn't try to avoid Walter or hit the brakes. So Johnny believed it was intentional. But James still wanted proof. Johnny sent Becca to get information about the catering company from Walter's last job. Afterward, while they were driving, they fought. Suddenly, a car hit them from the side. This big car kept pushing their car in the street and hit other cars. Then men in it opened fire, so Johnny increased the speed and accidentally hit restaurant tables. The two cars got hooked together, so the brothers couldn't get out. They tried to shoot at the enemy's car, but its windows were bulletproof. Fortunately, James managed to take down the shooter, but he ran out of bullets. Johnny kicked the door, jumped from the car, and ran in the street, shooting at those chasing them. James found bullets, jumped from the car window, and climbed onto the enemy car, but his bullets didn't break the glass. Johnny shot the car's engine, which exploded and flipped. James landed on the sidewalk. Johnny called for the ambulance. At the station, Reinert scolded the two for the mess they made. He told them Johnny had been suspended from his police job for 2 months and was being investigated for using force in his work. James gave Reinert the flash drive and asked him to investigate the matter, but Reinert ignored it and told them to behave. At night, Hanani showed the two brothers what she found in the system. These maps were for a place in the east of the country, requested by someone named Marcus who has resorts everywhere. James saw a seal on the back of the maps that said the Holy Princess Casino, which was strange because gambling is forbidden on the island. The group agreed they must talk to Marcus tomorrow at the annual fundraising party. The next morning, James asked Johnny why he was suspended. Johnny explained that he hit a dealer selling drugs to small kids. James seemed understanding. Afterward, the two brothers went to the place where the casino was supposed to be built. They found it wasn't a construction site, it was a Hawaiian village belonging to the locals for hundreds of years. Suddenly, Johnny got a call from Becca saying the police pulled a blue car out of the water. The brothers rushed to the location and found the police also found the body of a government accountant. The car had no plates, but Reinhard had a list of all registered blue cars on the island. The brothers looked at the list and tried to take it, but Reinhard took it back and told them to stay away from this trouble. After Reinhard left, Johnny asked Becca to search for the name Hayashi Imports, which was the only Japanese name on the list. A few hours later, Becca was working as a waiter at the fundraiser and brought extra uniform shirts for the brothers so they could get in. He had researched Hayashi Imports and confirmed it belonged to the Yakuza. The team split up so no one would suspect them. James found himself serving Nakamura, who casually put drugs on his plate. James stole Nakamura's credit card from the food plate and noticed it said Hayashi Imports. He returned the card to Nakamura, pretending he found it on the floor, and asked if a blue van from Hayashi Imports was missing. Nakamura felt suspicious and threatened James indirectly before leaving. At the same time, Johnny introduced himself to Monica, who recognized his family name and asked about Walter. After Johnny told her what happened, Monica said she is Marcus's wife and wants a divorce. That's why she brought Walter, to get her strong evidence. Without that evidence, she won't be safe. She didn't want to talk much in front of people, so she asked Johnny to come to her penthouse tomorrow. Then armed guards caught them and dragged them to Marcus. Marcus said he hired Walter and paid him well to stay quiet. Marcus seemed surprised to hear Walter was dead. But Johnny believed he was the one who killed him. Marcus got angry and denied it, saying he hired Walter to check if Monica was cheating on him. While Johnny was playing with a grenade he found on the desk, James noticed a tissue on Marcus's 2 fingers. He dismissed them from his sight and kicked the brothers out. After they left, Marcus looked at Monica's picture and wondered what she had done. The next day, Johnny went to the penthouse but found an ambulance, police, and a crowd. When he looked closely, he saw Monica's body on top of a car. The official story is that she fell from her balcony. Johnny got very angry and returned to Marcus's mansion. He started hitting every guard in his way. While trying to get inside, he managed to take down many men. But in the end, the guards tossed him to bring him down. Marcus looked at him, and Johnny accused him of killing Monica, but Marcus denied it again and asked his men to call the police. A guard kicked Johnny to knock him out. Later in jail, Peter visited Johnny and convinced Marcus to drop the report. He asked Johnny to let the police handle the matter. When Johnny got out, James was waiting for him. He yelled at him for the mess he made and told him that violence won't bring his mother back. Johnny went crazy and headbutted James and started hitting him. James defended himself, and they ended up fighting next to police cars, breaking a few windows. James gained control, punched him in the face several times, and won. Johnny then asked himself what kind of man leaves his younger brother alone when he needs him most, referring to when James sent him away. James said he did that to protect him because the gang wanted to kill Johnny. Johnny explained that the sight of his dead mother haunts him and that James was all he had left. James finally understood the weight of what he did and apologized. Later at home, Johnny got a phone call from Valentina, who returned to his house to get the mail and found Walter's package, which was full of trouble inside a flash drive. Johnny asked her to bring it to him in Hawaii. At the airport, Johnny tried to greet Valentina with a hug, but she threw her bag at him. They got in the car. And Becca tried to open the flash drive on his device but found it locked with a bank firewall. Valentina understood it was a wallet and explained it's digitally encrypted. The flash drive is the key, and the password needs 12 words. James gave Becca the ticket he found in Walter's wallet. Suddenly, a helicopter shot at them. Johnny tried to shoot back, but James couldn't control the car because he had to avoid the bullets and the obstacles. Valentina convinced him to let her drive and showed them great skill as she swerved around every hit car. In the end, the helicopter left, and 2 people appeared on a motorcycle. When they fired, Valentina had to turn suddenly, and she ended up driving backward. Johnny tried to shoot at them but missed all the shots. Valentina stopped the car intentionally. The motorcycle hit it, and they flew over the car. One of them entered through the back window to take Becca's computer. James started fighting him, and Johnny fought the second man but had to pull back inside to avoid an oncoming truck. Valentina shook the car to leave the man hanging on the door, so he hit her with his gun. Johnny grabbed his arm so the bullets wouldn't hit them, and Valentina drove very close to a fence. Then he fell into the street. James opened the door and pushed the second man out. The helicopter reappeared and opened fire. The brothers fired back, and James managed to hit the shooter. A bullet hit the pilot, so the helicopter crashed on the road. Valentina drove at maximum speed and entered a tunnel at the last moment to avoid the explosion. Afterward, Becca finally managed to access the information on the flash drive. $12 million a year were being transferred to Peter. This made the group realize that Marcus was paying Peter to legalize gambling so he could open his casino, and the Yakuza were hired for protection. Walter discovered this conspiracy by chance. The government accountant likely gave Walter all the information. When they arrived home, James didn't find his family. He tried calling them but found Layla's phone on the floor. He searched for them and was terrified when he found his kids hiding in the bathroom. They told him Layla was kidnapped. James hugged them to reassure them they couldn't have done anything. At that exact moment, Marcus sent them a video of Layla and Hanani tied up. He demanded the flash drive in exchange for the women's lives. James got angry and opened his weapons locker. The brothers carried as many weapons as they could. At night, the two hit guards outside Marcus's mansion. Suddenly, the window of Marcus's car was broken. When the guards looked, they found a note saying "smile," and then Johnny killed them one after the other. James was covering them with a sniper rifle. He tried to hit someone on the first floor, but the glass was bulletproof. The sound made the guard open the window, so James quickly shot and killed him. Suddenly, the power went out in the house. Marcus sent a guard to see what happened. The man found all the wires cut and informed Marcus via radio. When he turned around, he found the bodies of all his colleagues in the swimming pool. At that moment, Johnny finished him from behind and took the radio. He told Marcus, "See you soon." Marcus sent Nakamura and his men. James met them in the hallway, and a fierce fight broke out. The space was tight, but James finished them all in minutes. After that, they reached the basement, untied the women, and started running. But Johnny decided to go back to take revenge on Marcus. Layla said she would be fine and convinced James to go with Johnny. When the women left, James went back and found Nakamura. A weapon fight began. Nakamura was using drugs between hits. When his ammo ran out, he grabbed a sword. James defended himself with his hands, then grabbed a combat pin. James pulled his arm and managed to take the sword and end the fight. At the same time, Johnny found Marcus trying to escape on his boat. He caught him quickly, took his weapon, and a hand-to-hand battle began between them. Then Marcus took his gun and started talking too much. Johnny managed to activate the grenade he stole from the office. Johnny fell into the water right before the grenade exploded. At that moment, James reached the pier and jumped into the water to save his brother. In the morning, Reinert arrested Peter. Then the family went to relax on the beach and hung pictures of their loved ones who died. Johnny apologized to his mother for running away from home all this time and started doing better with Valentina. At that moment, Mr. K appeared and clarified he didn't want Johnny to leave. He did all this to force him to fight the Yakuza for his benefit. Now his gang is the only one on the island again. Mr. K gave Johnny a paper with the name of his mother's killer. Johnny showed it to James, who said he would support him, but he reminded him that Walter sent the flash drive to bring him home. Johnny decided to burn the paper to leave his anger behind, join his family, and start a new life.